Welcome, Raquel Figlo, to Home is Where the Dark Is. Thank you so much for coming by and making the trek from OC. I appreciate you coming in to the studio to have a conversation. So, how are you?
Excellent. I'm excited to be here. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. I think
Since the last time.
Yeah, it was in January. Yeah, last time I saw you for our little album release celebration. That was fun.
That was fun. That was real fun.
Yeah. I want to start with something that, you're in the music industry, and I think sometimes there's people don't really understand what it is exactly that you do. So I want to ask you, for those who may not be familiar with your line of work, what is public relations? What is PR?
PR is exposure, and that's what bands need. I'm your cheerleader. I'm in the business of exposure. I get bands in front of the right audience and right in front of, booking, talent management, everything that's super important that a band needs. And what that means is getting them in magazines, podcasts, and blogs, which I feel is really important. And when I work with a band, when I start working with them, it's all about getting, a strategy behind whether they have their singles coming out, music videos and albums. And I put together a strategy and a timeline, and I work with them on, what is the best way to promote each product that they're putting out. Yeah. So I throw out a big wide net, I like to say, from small blogs to all the top tier magazines and online websites, because I feel, especially now and after COVID, people are looking at everything. So those small blogs have a really loyal fan base to whatever they're reading. So and I get them just a whole bunch of variety of press.
So I've noticed lately, you've covered all kinds of genres of music, but you've been doing a lot of metal lately. So I'm curious, I don't know if everyone listening knows about, there's a certain aspect of PR is just because you pitch something or you send something to a contact, to a metal injection, to a blabbermouth, just because you submit it doesn't guarantee that they will post it, right? So they curate what they want. So what do you do to help bring comfort to the client to be look, I have all these connections with XYZ companies, with XYZ publications. What do you do to comfort them, knowing that they will be picked up by as many outlets as possible? Because it's just because you send it doesn't mean they're going to post it. Yeah. So what kind of things do you guarantee for the client's comfort, I guess you could say?
Sure. In PR, you can't guarantee anything, but I've been doing this for a while. And you're right. When I first started, I was doing a lot of different things, from entertainment to wellness, different type of genres. But I am really happy to say now I am your rock and metal, goth and industrial girl. If it's rock and metal, if it falls anywhere between there, I'm your girl, because I've been really working that industry, and that's the one I'm most passionate about. So I kind of now with bands, if you're in rock and metal, definitely come to me. I'm at a point where if it's pop, I'm going to have to, I don't want to ever say no, but mostly, I'm definitely putting myself out there as rock and metal, and a lot of goth actually lately, which I absolutely love. So when I say no guarantees, I like to be super transparent with the bands. Working with me, as long as I've been in this industry, the relationships I've built, you're going to get press. So, sending it out, when I say I'm transparent is you'll see that I continuously, not only do I send out the email blast, I pick up the phone and I'm calling these people direct. So I'm getting a yes or no answer. And for example, I just started, I was working with Kill Devil Hill, and I was talking to Loudwire, and Loudwire was like, this might not be a fit for Loudwire right now, but how about Loudwire Nights? And I had just worked with them from a previous client. And I got Kill Devil Hill, Johnny Kelly on Loudwire Nights, which is just as big. It's still Loudwire. So I work every angle. I don't just say, hey, they don't want to cover you. I don't know what to do. No, a good publicist fights for you. They're your cheerleader. They're, cheering you on. And and I'm just I keep a lot of communication with my clients, so they feel they're getting something. They know I'm trying. And also those smaller blogs too. I don't ever want to discredit like the smaller ones. It's not even smaller. You know, they have a loyal fan base. So I get people a wide net. And I even mentioned that when I start working. I'm like, hey, you know, let me do my job. We're going to get you on podcasts and get things going to build that momentum, because the bigger publications want to know that, hey, someone's talking about you. So it's kind of a process.
So yeah, like when you said certain outlets have more of a reach than others, but I like what you said about how, you know, certain ones, even though they have lower numbers, they do have like a niche cult following, like a
totally,
no pun intended, like a ghost cult, for example.
Yeah.
They're like a metal
I love
doom
ghost cult,
sludgy.
by the way.
They don't have as much of a reach as like a metal injection, obviously, but there is an advantage to be on those if you fall within that genre, of course. So
definitely, there is a positive side to it, because you don't know where all your fans are going to be. They could come from those smaller blogs and stuff. And plus, it looks good. So I also work with bands on their social media in addition to just getting them the interviews, which is great. I'm like, hey, are you posting? Because I'm posting about you. You see my social media. I'm constantly putting the name out because I got a reach. And also I'm putting it in my email blast. So I definitely, when I work with a band, I make it very clear that they need to do the same thing too, because one of the responses I've been getting a lot from people are, you're so busy, look at all your bands. And then the bands are like, where are you getting you're getting so much press. Well, that's what you want to do, because people want to see that you're important, or that you're getting press. They're like, wow, like there's something going on with this band. I'm going to check them out. And maybe that might be a metal injection or a blabbermouth, or, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think with what you just said, it kind of brings to a highlight of momentum, because, you know, you're leading by example. You know, you're posting, you know, sometimes you're posting more than the bands that you're representing.
What's up with that?
So I think you lead by example. So I notice a lot of, you do, which I think is cool that Instagram add this feature, the collaboration feature, where you make a post, you invite other people to collaborate. So then when you post it, it shows up on everyone's profile and you get more views, more engagement. I think that's brilliant for bands. So it's cool to see that you just did one today with Nikki Stringfield, right?
Stringfield, so, was like, make me a collaborator. That way it goes on mine and we have the same, I guess, message. Yeah. And also, you're right, getting the likes. But also, it just makes my job easier because I was busy today coming here to see you. So I was like, hey, make me a collaborator because I'm not sure if I can post today. Right. So it helps with saving time and posting.
Yeah, it takes so long to put together like a really professional post with it, whether it's a video, a reel, or whatever, a carousel, and then doing all the text and the tagging and the blah. It takes a long time to do it right, and to do it in a presentable way that looks professional, and when it's a high quality video, high quality photo, etc. So, yeah, I mean, I do the best.
Noticing.
Oh yeah, I do the best I can when I do my posts, and I, just from living and learning, I do know it's like it takes a long freaking time out of your day especially if you're posting multiple times a day. And there's a reason why people have full-time jobs as social media manager, as social media marketing promoter, etc. So I think what you do for your artists, because we've worked together as well, and I really like how you, like you said, you're persistent with the outlets. You're not only emailing out, you're calling, you're just like,
I'm texting
you're persistent
them.
and
I'm on them on social media. I'm like, hey, check this out.
You're persistent and you're assertive. And so at least they know about what you're offering. And whether they choose to publicize it or not and post it is up to them, but at least they know, like, you're in their face about it. So, and what I really like too about, how you work with artists is you let them know, hey, I got a hold of, for example, I got a hold of Blabbermouth, but they're going to pass on this one. So we're going to try this other one. So you're very transparent. You're very upfront about, and sometimes they won't even tell you why they're not going to post it. And sometimes they do. So I like, in the past you said, oh, we reached out to so-and-so and they're going to pass for this reason. And it's like, okay, cool. At least I know, at least you push for it. So stuff like that is, I think is great because you're very, very communicative and you're very upfront, at least from my experience working with you.
So, no, I am. Yeah. That's exactly what I am. It says on my website: personal, passionate, and persistent.
Yeah, and I like that you're quick and you're easy to get a hold of, and you're just on it. And I value that when I work with anybody in general, like in the music industry, or just anyone that's like, they're attentive, they're easy to communicate with, and they don't leave you like on read for like days. It's like that shit. It's like, okay, you went on vacation, your phone's in your luggage and you're enjoying yourself. I get that. But most of the time we're not doing that. So it's like, it annoys me when you're trying to get things done in a fast paced work environment, and there's people that are just like, you know, ignoring you, and it's like you're hiring them for a certain thing, and they're just like, I can't stand that, like, take forever to respond type of thing. So I appreciate that you're very communicative and fast. So okay, I want to switch into another question here. How did you find yourself, like, did you stumble upon the idea of being a publicist, or was something that you've always wanted to do, or did other events in your life lead you to this profession, or how did you get into PR?
I love this question, and only recently have I had like a lot of time to think about it, because you know the whole thing that I was fighting for with the Irvine Meadows Amphitheater.
Yeah.
And that really is a true story that, you know, when I was younger, I used to go to these concerts with my mom and my brother and my friends since a young age, of like 12 years old, and going to Irvine Meadows and seeing, you know, I'll just say Ugly Kid Joe was like the band I loved. And they were with Def Leppard. And of course I went for Def Leppard. And because, you know, I grew up in that time where music videos were going on MTV and I was watching it. So those were how I knew those bands. And so I saw them and I was like, wow, I want to get in this industry so bad, but how does anyone get in this industry, and what would I do? You know, so when Irvine Meadows so I was going to Irvine Meadows like all the time, meeting bands, hanging out, networking, making friends with the roadies, making friends with the security, making friends with the bands who now, what, oh my gosh, how old am I? 30 years later, you know, I'm talking to them, their publicist. Like, I literally just got off the phone with Steve Zing, and I was telling him, you know, thanks for hooking up at Danzig. I'm his publicist, but that means so much, because you're one of the first bands I ever saw as a teenager, and you like affected my life. Or Danzig, you know, everyone, all of them, so much that I pursued this dream. I went to school, went to college, and studied advertising and branding, and just continued going to shows and, you know, networking. And it's hard to find that door in, but if you keep asking and keep knocking on doors and letting people know that, you know, that you want to get in the industry, somebody usually says yes or gives you an opportunity. And that happened when I was hanging out with some people, and a job opened at the Key Club in Los Angeles, on Sunset Boulevard, the world famous Key Club. And I was the event manager, and I traveled from Orange County to LA, I think 4 days a week, you know, and then I started making friends and staying out here and stuff. And I would go work at the Key Club during the day, then go to the Rainbow, then go to the Roxy, then go to the Viper Room, and then do it all over again every single day. And that networking and meeting people like Andy Gould and Rob McDermott, you know, and seeing Ghost for the first time at the Roxy. And I know Brian Slagle was there. That's how I first met him, at Metal Blade, and just, you know, befriending them on social media and keeping in touch and saying, hey, this is what I do. You know, actually, you know, working with them years later and keeping those relationships. So that is how I got to here. And actually also writing for Rock and Roll Industries magazine did a lot. So the bands I hung out with, I interviewed, and I was working at the Key Club. And then from there, you know, interviewing the bands and then saying, hey, you know, I do PR, because I was in branding, but PR seemed, I think I just said one day I would be a publicist. And so I did. You know, I'm smart enough, and I'm a natural born promoter.
I miss the Key Club so much. That was my favorite spot on the Strip. Like, to see.
I loved, I saw everyone there. The first, I think, one of the last Dime Bash, real Dime Bash that I consider, like, you know, was at the Key Club, because that place was so iconic in 2014 or 11. 11's one of those.
I love the way it was set up with like the main standing hall, and then the upstairs, and then the basement area, like the downstairs, and it sounded so good in there. Yes. I saw so many killer metal shows there, and man, I love that spot. But it's too bad that it's doesn't exist anymore. But Yeah.
We got to bring those venues back. I mean, I'd go to the House of Blues there on, the Sunset Strip too.
Yeah, that was another great one.
So that's why I fought so hard for the Irvine Meadows, and we did end up, I guess, well, it's always in negotiation, but we were going to pursue it, and then they changed their mind. But Live Nation, I don't think is going to give up. We'll see what happens, and I'll just keep fighting for it. Because, music just made such a difference in my life and played such a big role, and making a career out of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. I love it. So at this point, you've worked with hundreds of artists and bands. So give us some insight on what are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen bands make regarding their press, their promotion, and their marketing.
Not hiring me.
That's a good answer. That's a very good answer. Some things they do, like, a lot of bands, they promote themselves and they market themselves, obviously. So what are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen bands make, and what are maybe some better techniques?
I don't want to say that bands made mistakes, but obviously if it was so easy for a band just to call it Metal Injection, then everyone would, right? So no, you need proper representation because it makes you look professional. Plus what I do, honestly, is a lot of work and no one really wants to do it. It's a lot of energy, organization, staying on top of it. You gotta have good writing skills. So there's that. And then the second part is I'm also thinking that I'm not talking for every publicist. I'm talking about, I can see how a publicist could get burnt out. It's more than just sending out an email blast. And I feel like that's where I have really shown these bands that come to me and say, hey, we had a publicist, but they just took our money, or we had a publicist and they didn't get us the press we want. They got us stuff that we could get. And honestly, it's someone being super dedicated to you. So that is why I'm just doing the rock, metal, goth, and industrial, or like clump it all together, rock and metal. That's it. Because I am beyond passionate about this, and I've really solidified those relationships with the publications and stuff. But yeah, it's more than an email blast. It's, picking up that phone and stalking people on their Instagram and saying, hey, check out this band, okay, if you don't want to check out this band, then check out this band, or okay, what are you looking for? Or let me take you to lunch. Like, I've recently started really becoming friends with some media, and we go, to the Rainbow and or meet up at a show, or I invite them to a show, or buy them a coffee.
Yeah.
There's a lost art to that. Nobody does that anymore.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, I think I think people have come so, especially after COVID and, people being locked down. It's like, it seems like there's people that are afraid to just call someone up that maybe they're not even interested in working with, but just in general, like, hey, I haven't seen you out. Let's go get coffee, or let's go get dinner. Like, it seems like pulling teeth sometimes to get people to like actually meet up with you just for the fuck of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Haven't seen you. It's like, so I think you're right. It is, I think for me, it says so much when someone actually reaches out and instead of just being like through a text or like saying, hey, but goes, hey, let's plan a meeting. Let's come over here. Let's go to dinner here. Let's get coffee here. Let's actually do this. And, to me, it takes priority instead of someone just texting me and being like, hey, how you been? Like, that's cool. I like that. I mean, that's awesome too. That. But
you get it.
When someone actually takes the initiative to be like, oh, they really, and to me, that's like, oh, they really want to meet up and talk. Cool. Awesome. Yes. They're the top priority, because all these other people are just being like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think
face to face.
Yeah.
This is my moment to boast, right? So like, I've had media hit me up and say, I really like working with you. You're like, you communicate and you call. And I also, give talking points too in my interviews. But I've been getting that a lot lately. But that's just my personality. It's like, if you want something done, you gotta make that call. And plus, I'm personable. But it is a lot of my personality. So, these are qualities. I think that make me a good publicist.
Absolutely. What about social media? What are some major mistakes that you see bands making besides not posting enough?
Sure. I love this. Blurry photos, just posting a picture and not writing any copy. Unless that picture is so good, you don't have to say anything. Yeah, basically that blurry photos are just, you need to be more intentional with what you're posting. And I tell my bands that. That's why I offer, along with my package, a content calendar. So I'm just advising. I'm not doing it for you because yes, you can have your own, like, it's a career, social media management, and it is so much work. Sometimes I need to post more, but that's why stories are good. So there's always an option too. That's another thing, like my advice about social media. If you can't make a post, then just do a story. Then you can just be randomly, showing wherever you're at, what you're eating, what bar you're at, if you're going shopping, and then, gotta be active.
If you're a band and you have the budget for a social media person, it's so worth it, because unless you're the type of person that loves doing that stuff and you have the time for it, but it's just so time consuming to be consistent with quality content, like great photos, great videos, great stories, great copy, like you said. Doing all of that on a day-to-day, multiple time a day basis is very time consuming, especially like, you have your day job, or you're an artist, you're writing music, like to do that as well, like in the proper amount, like for the proper engagement, is just, it takes so much time away from what you're doing during the day. So yeah, I think if bands have the budget to hire someone for their social media management, I think that's also like extremely beneficial to keep the engagement going, right?
Yeah, well, that's why also why I add social media content calendar to my, so what that means is I'm like, okay, I'm going to write stuff out to what to post 5 days a week for you. And you can choose to post what I say or not. So like, let's just say Metal Monday, Music Monday, post one of your old music videos or a show that you saw over the weekend, and kind of just describe what's on your photo. So, but you got to commit to at least 1 day a week, 5 days a week, 3 times a week, 4 times. I mean, at least, consistently, where your fans know that every Monday at 9 a.m. you're going to be posting something. So I make it really easy. And then if they're not going to do that, then I'm like, post my press. What's the point of getting press if you're not going to post it?
Right.
Like I just called Kill Devil Hill today, and I'm like, are you going to post this interview that just happened? And they're like, yeah. Like, I haven't seen it. It's been a couple hours. So I'm on top of them. And that's the benefits of working with me.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so cancel culture is like extremely rampant, right? And there's always a saying like, all press is good press, or any press is good press. Like in this day and age, do you still feel that is true?
That is a good question. I'm just going to be honest, whether anyone likes it or not. I think all press is good press. I mean, they're talking about you, something's going on, and who's really going to cancel you? And also, I work with some controversial clients, and that's all right. People that have had bad press, but so it makes my job, where I'm actually excited to kind of turn the story around and give them the proper dues that they deserve, whether they've been in the industry for a long time, or they've been in a major band, or they're trying to tell their side of the story. We're always going to have enemies. We're always going to have someone talking smack on you. You can't be afraid. You have to put your voice out there and not hide.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I tell my clients, I go, look, I have to tell you what they're saying, or if I know they're ultra sensitive, I'm not going to tell them. And then if they're complaining to me, oh, this bad press came out, and I'm there for them. I'm like, oh, it's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll turn it around. And actually, I have a great example about that. I'm working with OTEP. And she just came out with her new album, The Godslayer, and we did an interview with Heavy New York, and somehow Blabbermouth, said something about it, and
of course, yeah.
And of course, but I do love Blabbermouth, so it's but I mean, it happens, and it bothered all of us, because it was such a good interview, and that was the focus. Yeah. But then Loudwire saw that, and they picked it up and turned the story around and told the real story behind it, which you guys should go check out. Loudwire and OTEP's recent, article.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my point with that. It's like there's still amazing. People out there in the media, but my point is like, you have to keep doing the interviews. So she took a minute where I decided we should stop for a minute and then pick it up later. And now we have some interviews out, and it's just picking up, revamping.
So, yeah. Have there been any times when, you maybe you've advised an artist or a band to edit any of their, because like when you're submitting press releases, we do write-ups and you do your edits and whatnot. Have there ever been times where you've maybe suggested, okay, let's get rid of this part. I mean, this is too controversial, or do you just let whatever the artist wants to put out, put it out unedited, or are there times when you suggest, okay, this might be a bit too much? Like, for example, like the recent, I don't know if you saw the That Art Is Murder crap that's been going on with their vocalist. I don't know if you saw it.
Which one?
Basically, they kicked him out of the band for he made some comments about trans people or something.
I think I saw something.
But say for example, an artist is being controversial and you're representing them. Would you ever advise like, hey, let's tone it down with these topics, or are you're just like, okay, whatever you want to do, you know what I mean?
So about that question, I feel as a publicist or as a business owner, as a professional going in, I'll know that they're controversial. So I'll have to make that decision before I go in. Once you go in, you're all in. I don't censor anybody. That's like, I will advise, hey, maybe let's not talk about this just because it's not going to do any good. I do edit the press releases, but I never send anything out without my client's final approval. So we've both come to an agreement that this is what we're going to represent.
Yeah.
But before I even work with anyone, I know who they are. I've done my research. I don't just say yes to anyone. And I would never want to censor anyone because I wouldn't want anyone to censor me in my personal life or my professional life.
Great answer. Love that.
Thank you. I felt really good about that.
So Spotify is obviously a major part of the music industry these days, and with every artist and band's career that has their music online. And I've noticed too that there are services in which an artist can pay for streams, right? That are fake. So, and these, labels are all about, before they even consider an artist, they're about how many streams do they have or how much reach do they have? And my question to you is, do you feel that, how do you feel about, let's be honest here. There's a lot of bands that do this. They pay for their streams. They pay for their views.
I don't know any.
Okay, good. Well,
I don't. Well, I don't. And I don't advise it either. I just tell them, let's try to do it the natural way. Like, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, there are bands that do this, especially, and also with social media, like with their Instagrams, you can pay for your followers. And it's clear, like if you go to someone's account, they have 100,000 likes or 100,000 followers, but then you go to a photo and there's like 30 likes. Makes no sense. Mm-hmm. So
sure.
A lot of people do that, and labels like numbers, everyone likes numbers. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's better to just be completely organic? I feel it's better to be, to not inflate your streams, to not lie, basically. I don't think it does the artist any good, and I think labels can see right through that for the most part. So what do you feel about that?
So I feel it's always important to be 100% organic. And I feel also with social media, your answer or how you stated that, people can have 100,000 followers, but they have like a few likes. I feel like that's happening to everyone's social. I have like 16,000 followers, and I'm like, why aren't you liking this about my band? I get like 48 likes, but I post a picture about me, and I get like 500 likes, even 100 likes. And so I don't know. I feel we all are trying to justify everything, but you can tell when you actually look at who's following that if they're fake or not. But I just want to say that part about people's likes and stuff. Like, I think a lot of people just look, because I just became a Facebook digital creator, which is kind of cool, I guess. I didn't know what that meant until now. I can see everyone looking at my stuff, and I'm like, why aren't you liking it? I'm getting like 4,000, 3,000, which might not be a lot of numbers to some people, but I'm a publicist, so I'm just like, my reach, any reach, I'm like, okay, cool, that's good. So they're looking. So I think it's people just, and I've asked, I think I have run into some people and, bands, rock stars actually. And I'm just like, they're like, oh, I saw that you were at this show. I'm like, why didn't you like it? Or they said you have a cool video. I'm like, your like would make a difference, But they're like, oh, I didn't even think about it.
Why do you think
people are like that?
Yeah, why do you think that is? Because I've noticed that too. Like,
it's annoying. I'm like it would make a difference, but I'm good if they don't. As long as I'm reaching, because I'm in the business of reach and exposure. And we really need to get over these likes, even though they are important, but we got to just concentrate on putting good content because people are looking. And that's another reason why I think All Press is good, especially about the small blogs and stuff. It shows momentum. It shows that people are paying attention. It shows that you're posting something, that you're doing something better than nothing and waiting for the blabbermouth or waiting for the mental injection, which are amazing. So, but we're waiting for all this stuff to feel justified or, what's that word? I don't know. Just validated when we should be paying attention to the people that are actually paying attention to you. Now back to Spotify. I try to help bands out with that. And I don't know if you saw what I recently did with I Am, the supergroup. I Am that has Kenny Hickey, Johnny Kelly, Kirk Winstein, and Todd Strange. And they have this song that just came out a few months ago called Dreams Always Die with the Sun. And so I thought my strategy was that I'm like, you have typo negative or, band members here, Johnny Kelly and Kenny Hickey. Like, what if we had Kenny Hickey, who's in high demand? I mean, people love him because he's just so amazing. If we just gave something away to the fans, and people went nuts. Like, I think we did this contest about once we reach 10,000 streams on Spotify, we would give away the original handwritten lyrics of Dreams Always Die with the Sun. So, and we did within a week, I think. And people went nuts for it. And I did the same thing with Kill Devil Hill. Am I giving away my secrets? That's fine. No one can really do what I do. But, giving your fans something to help those streams out. And that's organic,
Yeah, that's really smart. It's like you're creating an incentive for, fans to maybe, hey, play
an incentive.
Play the song instead of you stream me, play the song a couple more, stream it 10
Tell
or
your
10
friends,
times.
Go play it, listen to it, because Spotify actually does. Spotify also looks at how long the song is playing, so you got to play it all the way through, and you got to tell your fans that too. But all these organic things work, and your fans want a piece of something from you. Like with Kill Devil Hill right now, we're giving away a signed poster, and we auctioned off a guitar, and they're asking me what should we do with this? We want to give this away to our fans, and and I'm like, auction it off. It helps create money, create some funds and back into the band, because it's very expensive being a musician, and PR is a luxury item. You gotta have a budget, and I'm expensive.
I think you're priced perfectly for the value you provide.
Thank you.
And
I've been giving you a homie deal.
Well, I know what your rate is, and,
I'm just teasing.
I think it's
Thank you.
It's perfectly
and
priced for the value you provide.
I'm comfortable with it too.
Yeah.
And honestly, with new bands, if I haven't worked with them before, I'll play around with the numbers, because I mean this. I live in abundancy, and I'm all about the band, and I can feel them out, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me give you an extra couple weeks. I'll let them know what it really costs, but I'll be like, here's an extra 3 weeks, because I want to be able to get you enough press, because even though you have an album coming out, I don't know if it's going to get picked up. I know you're going to get some press, but to really deliver what I want to give you, what you deserve, or what I feel you deserve, it's going to take some time. So I always give a little bit more, because it's my passion and I love it. And what else? I want to be able to do a good job.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about, you recently started working with Cleopatra. So how has that been going, and how did that come to be? And tell us a little bit about that collaboration.
Cleopatra is absolutely amazing. It all started with Steve Zing, the bassist of Danzig. He has his own passion project, Black 29. But Steve and I have been friends for 10 years. And then, of course, I've seen him throughout the years in Danzig. But him and Doyle, they would always sign at my booth for Rock and Roll Industries because they know me and they're so sweet. They come and, do the autographs and whatnot. And I'd always see him, when there's like events going on or, NAMM and his show. And other publicist of mine was like, you should really work on this project. And she mentioned it to Steve. And I was like, I wonder what Steve's going to say. And Steve's like, Raquel's awesome, because I saw the emails. And I was like, yes, because like they know me, they know what I do, but they haven't maybe really seen what I do. And so he saw it in action, and then one thing led to another. He told everyone how awesome I am, because he tells me that he told everyone. And he told Cleopatra, and Brian Perry called me into the office one day and was like, wow, you got so much press for Steve, that's amazing. And he started referring bands to me. So I was working with a lot of Cleopatra bands since the beginning of the year. And then just a few months ago, they called me and they're like, we want you to be our publicist. And I'm like, can I have my name on your website? And they're like, sure. And so I was like, perfect. And that was it. And it's been awesome. And I'm learning about so many new bands too. Like, it's not just, so this is where it's not just rock, metal, and goth. Like I have done some hip hop albums too, and more eclectic stuff. So this has been really pushing me to expand my media list. So I can do press for obviously other genres, but my passion obviously is rock and metal. But so it's good. It's like you can't just, I'm open to other things.
Love it. Yeah, I'm glad that you're working with Cleopatra. They've been one of my favorite labels for forever. Mainly when I first discovered the 69 Eyes, and I realized they're on Cleopatra. What's this label? And that was like 20 years ago. So yeah, I'm a big fan of their label.
They are awesome, and they're super passionate about their type of music too. It's not the mainstream. And as much as I love mainstream, and I don't want to say I would never be a Taylor Swift publicist, but you know what? It's really important that you find a publicist, and even as a professional, to find your passion and what you're really into, because the money will follow. And if you're into it, then it's not like work, and then you can build your own mainstream, the mainstream in goth and metal. So that's what I really like about them, because they have just such a variety of eclectic.
I was just gonna say, it's a very eclectic label. They have awesome. All kinds of genres.
It's great, yeah. But it's not. Is it mainstream though? No, it's not like a Taylor Swift. So that's awesome. So it's a mainstream for everyone else. I love that.
Yeah. What is one of the best things like a band could do, in your opinion, to advance their career, like as a performer and a songwriter? Like, because you've seen a lot of bands, start from the bottom and then rise, and you've helped them rise. Yeah. So aside from being great at social media, etc., like what do you think is like maybe what do you think is the most important thing like a band can do if they're just starting, or maybe a little bit farther along and they're trying to level up? Besides hire you, obviously.
You can never take anything away from a good song, a good songwriting, good lyrics, so I think that's kind of going back to basics. If it's a good song, people are going to notice. So I don't know, I feel like that's the best answer I can think of. Like, just put out good music. And I know a lot of bands think their songs are the best, but and really focus on that one song that you put your heart and soul in, and then also it's all goes back to the music. It goes back to good songwriting, good lyrics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's perfect, because the song is king, and also songwriting and like what is a good song is subjective. Because that's subjective, for example, Post Malone is one of the biggest artists in the world, but most people that I know like don't like him, because I'm in the metal community. I know people that do like him, but most people I work with aren't into that, and I get that. But so to me, like, what a good song is subjective, but I do feel like even if you're not into a certain genre, you can recognize that song is awesome. Song. I don't get it, I'm not into it, but damn, that sounds great, And also, because it's subjective, I think it's just important to, really put out quality music, because if you're in love with it, no one can ever take that away from you. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the themed question of this podcast is based off the title, which is Home is Where the Dark Is. So could you let us know What has been one of the darkest periods in your career, darkest times, and what did you do to overcome it?
Okay. Wow, this is pretty dark. I like this question though, and you know what? I think honesty is always super important. So, especially this industry, it is really easy to slip into partying and drinking constantly where it becomes a part of your lifestyle. So it had become a part of my lifestyle to where I just lost a really major project. And I've told friends, and I don't mind saying it, out loud, but that really sucked only because it doesn't happen often, but it happened one, like, the one last time where it was like, wow, are you going to continue? And I just completely, for just another time, just changed my life around. And it really made a difference because I put it out there and, that I had stopped drinking and, my sobriety is my sobriety, however that is, whatever that looks like, because everybody has their own story. But that day I was really sad and I called a friend and they were there for me, like a couple girlfriends, like beautiful girlfriends, like you wouldn't expect that had the same kind of like story. So being able to share it, I feel like community and telling, people and your friends, a lot of people there were there for me and no one was like, oh, well, didn't you stop drinking before? Or there was no judgment.
Yeah.
So, and I feel that really helped me. And, and it definitely has kept me that one last time of losing that one major gig had, really kicked my ass to where, it'll never happen again.
Thank you for sharing that. I can relate. I had struggled with alcohol abuse, so I've been sober for over 2 years, as you know.
Congratulations.
So thank you. But yeah, this is so common in just life in general. So many people struggle with it. So it's okay.
Sure.
It's okay. You're doing your thing and you're coming to terms and you're making changes, and that's a part of growing as a human being and becoming the best version of yourself. So
thank you
for sharing that with us.
Yeah. Do you want to add to this? It's so funny. Like when that happens, like I'll just say it was a rock bottom for me, and no one really knows what happens, and no one's gonna know what really happened. But it was definitely a life-changing moment. And all of a sudden, when I decided to make that positive change in my life, the entire world opened up. Like because it was at the end of 2022. So I mean, I wouldn't be able to do the stuff I did if I was continuing that path. And it wasn't even that bad. I just have a professional life. It's like I don't have time for that. It's not even about drinking. It's about going out. It's about hanging out with friends and not waking up and doing your work. It's about going to dinner and spending, thousands of dollars every month on, shopping or whatever and not taking care of responsibilities. So I'm really glad that all happened and everything just, opened up and it continues. And next year is going to be even better. And I'm so excited for my future too because of it.
I love that. Isn't it incredible how much your life changes when you finally, like if you're someone that's struggling with alcohol or any substance abuse, it's incredible how much your life changes when you finally decide to stop. And it might take a little while, but it is so transformative and it's so enlightening and it's inspiring,
Sure. I think with me, like I said, everybody's sobriety story is different, but it was also about making the same choices. Like I wasn't making the right choices. And it was more than just drinking or whatever. It was like a lot of things. But I was always maintaining my business. I was getting clients. And, I was so tired of being tired. I was so tired of like waking up tired. I was so just tired. Yeah. I'm not tired anymore.
That's one of the major
things. Every day
things.
is beautiful. I wake up at 5 to send out. Well, I was always waking up at 5, but sending out press releases and now sending out for Cleo and sending out for my work and handling Cleopatra and handling my stuff and then going to the gym. I went to the gym this morning and I'm in dance class. Like you can't do that tired. You can't do that by going out to dinner or drinks every night or going to a concert. Like I miss some concerts and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you can. It's hard to function when we wake up hungover every day.
Sure.
So yeah. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And final question that we can end on here. So for you, what has been the most challenging aspect of your job as a publicist?
Oh, you know what? okay, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I never ever look at anything as a negative. I mean, having so many clients is awesome, and I'm just like, I am so good at juggling. But yeah, it got overwhelming like a couple of weeks ago where I actually missed metal injection because my body just died on me. Like they had the festival metal injection. I couldn't get out of bed. I was like ready to go. I ate. I was drinking water. Exhaustion. But I would not change anything for the world. So I'm glad I have all these clients. But it took a toll on me on doing that. And but let me see. I wouldn't change it for the world. So I guess whatever.
So it's a good problem to have.
It was a good problem to have, but like, I mean, it kind of sucked that I got so tired, but I listened to my body, and before maybe I'd keep going and running on empty, but I was like, okay, can I make it to this concert, which it was a big deal to me. But listening to my body or just being tired and saying no. Was that an answer to that question?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so tell everyone where they can find you and your socials and how they can hire you.
Just Google me. I'm just kidding. No, honestly, I love saying that. If you Google me, you'll see all my past stuff I did with bands, writing for Rock and Roll Industries, and I love those videos. But yeah, my name is Raquel Figlo, and I'm all over. My website's raquelfiglo.com, and my socials are Raquel Figlo PR. Yeah.
Perfect. So we'll put the link in the description so everyone can check out your website and your socials. And Raquel, thank you so much for coming on. And it's been great to learn a little bit more about you and to chat. And I'm really happy for you. I'm glad I've seen your progression over the past couple years. And
you have.
Yeah.
I love seeing you looking at my stories because I'm like, that's so you're definitely a big supporter, and I really appreciate that. And
of course,
it means a lot.
My pleasure. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Check out Raquel online and hire her if you need some killer PR.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.